Hi, I'm Kerry Mussington from the Mind Over Matter Project, Suicide Prevention, bringing you awareness on the underlying issues that can cause depression. Now, we have Imani Sorhaindo from KMT Rising, and she's going to be bringing you the topic of fibroids. And why do you relate suicide prevention to fibroids? Because we're talking about the pain that can drag you down, the pain which Imani will elaborate on in a minute, that can cause major depression and change your life in ways that you never wanted it to go. So Imani is here to do quite the opposite. What we're going to do is raise awareness on what is fibroids. We're going to show you a short 3-minute clip, and then Imani's going to elaborate and tell you what she has to offer within this on this topic of fibroids and where you can get help and support. So watch the clip.
Hello, my name is Dr. Marashi. Today we're going to talk about fibroids. Fibroids, or myomas, are basically growing inside the uterus. Now, it could be in different parts of the uterus. Excuse this image. This is from previous class that we had on Endometriosis 101, and unfortunately, we couldn't clean these. So this is the uterus, what you see, and then we have the vagina here, we have the tubes, and we have the ovaries. We have 3 main types of fibroids. We have fibroids that are in the wall of uterus. We call them intramural. We have fibroids that are sticking kind of inside the uterus and coming all the way underneath the lining of the uterus. We call them submucosal. And we have fibroids that are mostly outside and they are underneath the lining of the uterus outside. They are subserosal. Now, a fibroid can have all 3 components together, like this fibroid. It could be submucosal, intramural, and subserosal. What is really important about fibroids is that what symptom do they cause you? I have patients coming to me all the time. They're like, you know what? My doctor found out I have a fibroid and I want to take it out. They ask me, can you please take it out for me? And I'm like, okay, does it cause you any symptoms? That is the most important thing. Is that does the fibroid cause any symptoms? You don't have to remove all the fibroids. You only remove the fibroids or try to treat it if it's causing you any symptoms. What are the big symptoms? Heavy bleeding. You know, if somebody is telling me, you know what, I'm becoming anemic, I'm bleeding so much, I have to lose like 3 work days, well, then you have to take out that fibroid or you have to do something for it, whether with medicine or with surgery. Second thing, does it cause any pressure for them? Pressure symptoms down below in your pelvic area. Does it make you go to the bathroom all the time? Does it cause like frequent urination? Does it cause constipation? Those could be other reasons. Or in some people it can cause pain. A lot of fibroids that can cause pain are fibroids that don't get enough blood supply. Many of them are like sometimes hanging out by a thread outside the uterus, like here. And as soon as this thread kind of twists, they don't get enough blood supply and the fibroid basically start causing pain. So you do not have to remove every single fibroid. I had a really good attending when I got trained. He used to tell me, if you have a headache, what do? Do you chop off your head? Well, that's the easiest way to do it, but reality is that you don't have to chop off your head if you have a headache. So don't go for a myomectomy. Don't take out all your fibroids if it's not causing enough symptoms. And remember, there are always other options, whether alternative medicine, whether just traditional medicine. Surgery is the last option for fibroids. And there could be a lot of complications with fibroid surgery. So if you decide to go with a myomectomy, make sure you go to somebody who does tons of them every year and they know what they are doing. Thank you. We're gonna talk.
This is
Great.
great information.
Kerry, Great. Can you give me 1 second? I've got something in the oven that I have to turn off.
This is real life, real talk. The fact that it's real life and real talk. You know what? We're not fake. We're not bringing you textbook. We're bringing you real life people that have lived it, people that have experienced it, and people that have a resolve to manage these fibroids. And this is what Imani is going to be doing now, is to tell you all about what she's doing. Like I said, Imani it's actually real life, and you know you're giving your time and your experience to help somebody else who may be going through it. Can I just say that when diagnosed with fibroids myself, there was no education around it.
Yeah.
You just got fibroids. Oh yeah, there's one. And it was like, well, it's intriguing for me. I'd like to know what's going on in my body, but you deal with this every single day and just giving out those diagnoses, but you don't give the aftercare and you don't give the solutions to what's next. So, I'm going to sit back now and listen to. Take it away, please, lovey.
Thank you. I mean, my journey was like 15, 16 years ago when I found out I had fibroids, actually, and it's been a journey of kind of me healing myself through holistic health and wellness strategies that made me set up my own business, gain my qualification as a holistic practitioner. So in a way, sometimes your own life challenges steer you down your career path, which is kind of really true for me. So my work in KMT Rising as a holistic health practitioner is I offer fibroid support coaching for women, really because many women are going through a great deal of discomfort and pain around this issue. Fibroids can grow. They could be as small as a pea and not cause any symptoms, as the man said, but they can grow to the size of a watermelon. And what we are finding is Black women and women from the Black and minority ethnic communities are 4 to 6 times likely sometimes to be getting fibroids. So they're disproportionately in the statistics across the US and also the UK. And so my role is really to support women who want to look at holistic ways of tackling this issue, shrinking their fibroids naturally, rather than having to go with invasive operations, which have many side effects and aging, etc. So for me, it's sometimes working with the GPs, or sometimes it's working directly with the women for them to look at their lifestyle. Essentially, fibroids are about estrogen excess. They are about over-toxicity of the body. So when we understand that, we then look at healing in a different way. It's not about just cutting them out, because the issue is still going to be there, and then they will more than likely grow back. So women have to hear this, because really, yes, we want the quick fix sometimes, we want to take it out. However, if we don't make some changes in our lifestyle, whether that's to do with diet, the products we use in our hair, our body, the creams we use, our emotions, stress, whether we, if we don't explore all those things holistically, the fibroids would more than likely grow back.
Particularly dangerous situation. I think when I didn't know I had fibroids until I kept getting this pain, a monthly pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it was, how can you explain pain? It's really excruciatingly painful, isn't it? You're doubled over. I think every step that I actually tried to take, I was like, even down to sitting down, because every step I took would hurt. That pain is, I think I'd rather give birth.
Debilitating, isn't it, Kerry? Yeah.
And it really pulls you down, but not only does it just pull you down, it affects every avenue of your life. But with those fibroids, I didn't know I had fibroid. I was rushed to hospital. I knew I was pregnant. Doctors weren't concerned about that. 13 weeks pregnant, but I was rushed to hospital with the sirens on. They thought I was going to have a cyst at birth. Now, if you describe what fibroids are, aren't they small tiny little cysty things that pop every now and again, and it's that popping, and you don't know when is it the before or is it the after. And you heard actually what the man said is they become strangulated and don't get the blood supply, and that is where the pain comes.
That's right. I mean, fibroids feed on the blood supply of the body, you know, so in a way they are on stalks, and as we feed the body with nutrients, we can actually aid in their shrinking. But if we're feeding the body with toxic diet or toxic things,
can you name
fibroids love sugar. So one of the things that we would have to do as a practice is actually look at our sugar content, because they actually grow based on things like coffee, sugar, you know, fried foods, dairy, you know, food, meat, you know, a lot of growth hormones in the meat. It's not so much the meat itself, it's actually because the meat in the mass market is being injected with growth hormones to feed the cattle quickly to get it on the market. What we're not realizing is that those growth hormones are mimicking the estrogen in the body. So when we eat them, it goes into our blood supply, and then the growth hormone, it accelerates the growth of the fibroid. So, you know, there's definitely an educational aspect to my work where I work with women on a one-to-one, but the primary thing is to listen to women. It's to listen to their journey, listen to their discomfort and pain, and listen to what do they want, you know, how do they want to treat their fibroids, because some people may not want a hysterectomy, they may not want myomectomy, they may want to look at alternative treatments that the hospital has, but they may not know the pros and cons. So my role is to give them an overview of all the, you know, all the aspects, all the different treatments, holistic and conventional, and they make an informed decision. But essentially, the first thing I do work with women on is detoxification. You know, it's detoxification. What foods are they eating? You know, do they eat a lot of greens? You know, do they take supplements, vitamins and minerals? I mean, one of the clients I'm working with currently, she has 6 fibroids. You know, she's off work a lot of times a month because of the pain and discomfort. But not only that, significant heavy bleeding and clotting. You know, if you imagine going to work and having to hide this, having to just get on with your day-to-day job when all this is going on for you emotionally and physically. Some women feel very bad about their change of their body image, because sometimes the fibroid can be growing and make them look pregnant, you know, and people might say, oh, how many months are you? And they look down because they're obviously not pregnant. But you know, so it causes psychological and physical issues for women.
Yeah, and well, if we scale it on the scale, it actually would cause depression, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And it's managing those symptoms. It's managing the symptoms and managing pain management. It's interesting what you said. If you would have been around before I made that decision to have a hysterectomy at 26.
That's young, yeah.
It's a very young age. And because after that, then I grieved because I couldn't have children. And it's really, you know, this can affect fertility also.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was fortunate to find out that, well, I already know I was pregnant, but the fibroids, I thought I was going to lose the child.
Mm-hmm.
Of the unborn, whatever you call it,
Mm-hmm.
fetus, whatever you want to call it, and
yeah,
and at the time, and I could see the bulge, and it was just kind of dismissed when you're pregnant. It was kind of just, oh yeah, well, it's fibroid. It was kind of dismissed for me. Getting my pregnancy confirmed, because I'd never had that confirmed either, thinking I had an ectopic pregnancy. That's how painful that I can actually say these, if anybody's experienced those things, or even not appendicitis, there we go.
Yeah, that sharp pain. Yeah, it can be like that.
Yeah, and then even for me, what I was doing is, luckily for me, I had the child. Then after that child came to, this is happening every single month still. This is unbearable. pop a pill before you have sex, love, they say. Because what happened was my cervix, again, that's common. I would like to talk to you, but there is a name for that. I never really looked into that a little bit more, but it's very common in cultured ladies that their cervix gets tipped back, and it's supposed to go like this.
Tip back or drop.
Yeah, it's supposed to go like this. But in my case, it was just like that. Now, can you imagine that then leaning onto your rectum, which is giving a double sharp pain
pressure?
This
And as the fibroid grows, it then starts to put pressure on the bladder and the rectal area, you know, causing a great deal of discomfort and pain. Yeah, absolutely.
So when that happened to me, nobody explained. So it's really beneficial what you're doing, because nobody explained. And you can't imagine, well, you can because you lived it, to do this every single month. You think, oh my God, okay, I've got 2 weeks grace now, 1 week of bleeding, maybe 2 weeks of bleeding, or maybe 3. You never know what someone's
Well, for some women, actually, their period just run into the other, really, so they don't really get a breather, because you see what happens with estrogen overload is that the hormones start to go really imbalanced, and so the body is sending off the false messages all the time that it's time to have a cycle, you know. And so my first role with women who are experiencing these things is to get their hormones back into balance, really, so that the body can do it. The body is a phenomenal thing. If we give it the things that it needs, it will stay in a healing zone. It will clean itself up. It will detox. It will do everything that it has to. But the moment we start to live outside of nature, if you like, or our natural sense of, you know, environment, and we create a toxic environment for the body and for the womb, we then start to see these kind of issues coming up.
Very important question for you. I'm going to write it down because I'm going to come back to it. Growth hormones in food. Is this why a lot of people become vegetarians or vegans, to cut this out? But be very careful even becoming the vegan or vegetarian, because again, if you're not careful, is it am I quote this wrong, but I'm sure I heard this the other day, that like soya bean.
That's a good point, Kerry. That's a good point. I mean, first of all, there's more protein in plant-based diet than there is in a meat diet. And I think that's a myth that a lot of people, especially from our culture, we think, oh, we got to have the meat, we got to have the meat, we got to have the chicken, we have to have the mutton. Because we have been brought up to believe that there's protein, we've got to get our protein. But the fact of the matter is the protein comes from the plant, and it's because the cow is eating the grass that the cow ends up with the protein. So protein is higher content and healthier content in plant-based diet, and there's a lot of research to show that. However, there are some links with estrogen relating to soya. And it's not so much, I mean, if we look at Japan and China, who has a great deal of soya in their products, we'll see that their cases of fibroids are actually quite low. So it's not the soya in itself, it's the GMO soya, the genetically modified, you know, organisms that is more to question, really, is a type of soya products that we are eating. Not so much the soya itself, because the Chinese and Japanese have been eating soya for the longest while. So when I was doing I'm writing a book, Kerry, and it's out in the summer. You know, it's been 15 years of writing this book on natural.
I'm loving that time.
Healing fibroids. And so I've gone on this journey myself to shrink my own fibroids, and that's why I feel now very confident in sharing that experience with other women.
I think you're amazing what you're doing, and I think you know, I have a lot of women on my platform. Perhaps we should set those up as to tackle this and to tackle everything as well. If somebody has not just a fibroid but they have a resistant point, this is the beautiful part about collaboration and networking, is to teach these people that I too come across. Oh, right.
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
Let me put you over to Imani. She does a workshop. You know what I'm saying? So and vice versa, because like I said, mentally, it really does. I'm just going to reel off from my own experience. I'm not where you are in really finding out. I'll be honest with you. I don't know as much education as you do around fibroids, even though I've lived with it. I can tell you the pain.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I went through. I went through a hysterectomy at 26 years old because it was a choice of popping a pill every single time before I had sex. Now, I didn't want to live like that. I was very young. I didn't want to, hold on a minute, let me just take my tablet. I'll be back with you. If I hope
that. You know, Kerry, if I was around then, there would have been so many other choices. And unfortunately, what we're finding is that for many women, they're not being given the information to make an informed choice. And that's really part of my role, is to empower women to actually self-care, put themselves first, and put the healing back in their hands, really, obviously with the support of their GPs. But at the same time, it's not just about the GPs, it's about us researching and educating ourselves so that we can make some lifestyle changes. Because as I said, cutting off the fibroid is not necessarily dealing with the problem. You know, the problem is toxicity. It's, you know.
What is the difference between fibroids and endometriosis? I think I said that word right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a clinician of endometriosis, but that tends to be when the fibrous tissue can sometimes merge and fuse with your organs in your body, such as your liver and your, you know, and so on, and that can be excruciating. Whereas a fibroid is a mass that is usually quite isolated in the lining of the womb only, even though it can grow into stalks outside of the womb, and that is based on, you know, estrogen excess. You know, it's a mass, if you like, of buildup of fibrous tissue, but that tissue is not necessarily merging with your organs, you know, whereas with endometriosis, it actually can merge with your anus, your colon, you know, and therefore it's just that much more difficult to then get the treatment for it.
But you still had the shedding every 5 minutes, whatever else. Is what I was trying to do, to sort of comparison. You talk about GMOs. Now, I'm not savvy on these kind of words. All right, I've heard it, yeah, but it sounds like space invasion, right? So, genetically modified
organisms.
Right. Yeah. That means the things that are not natural for those that are unaware, because we can't assume that everybody's mentally in the same stage as us with particular words. Because when I used to hear people mention words, I'd switch off because I didn't know what they meant. So food, diet, really interesting about that soya, and to get the content of soya right. You explained that lovely, actually. Thank you. Coffee and sugar. Now, I had a hysterectomy. Now I want to get back to you now, Miss Doctor. When I had the hysterectomy, I still had my tubes, one, because they didn't want me to go into early menopause. Although having a hysterectomy at 26, it does bring that quicker. Now
it can kind of speed up your aging process. Yeah, I mean, it's good that they didn't take, you know, they made sure that you kept an ovary, because I mean, that's one of the.
It's ridiculous, because even though they did, okay, it's shut down now, I've gone through the menopause, but still, I will be honest that even though I whatever the repair is with my tubes, every now and again I can still feel that same pain every now and again. Now, it's very interesting, because you think that would pack up and stop, have a hysterectomy, you've got nothing there to attack. That's not the case. I don't have that stuff going on. Still have what they call a cycle, because the cycle doesn't stop, does it? Your body is trained into those cycles. Even though you don't have the periods anymore, you can still have those mood swings, the ups and downs, and the pain that develops with the fibroids. Now, I got accustomed to the pain, the numbing it, but I got into a method of coping with it. Now, the method that I got into coping with it wasn't good, and it was the only choice, and this is where you're offering an alternative, was to take, I think it was Codamol, and even down to, what's that thing called?
So it's pharmaceutical drugs, basically, yeah?
Right, but then what I was doing is taking that, and because the pain was so intense,
Yeah.
it made me drowsy on the medication, was numbing it. Then you cannot drive. You're not even functional because you're so high on the medication. That is how painful these things are. For any men listening, you stump your toe, you go, ouch. Can you imagine that stumped toe constantly for hours on end and for days on end?
I mean, for me, I tend to train women and support women to look at complementary therapies. So number one, breath therapy. I teach people how to breathe through pain, so that actually, because pain is good in the sense that as your body telling you that something is wrong. So that mechanism is a good thing because it's alerting you that something has to change here. It's telling you, hold on, the lifestyle, whatever, has to change. However, what happens with pharmaceutical drugs is that when we take those things, allopathic medicine and things, it suppresses the issue. It brings it down. It takes the illness back down into the body. So we think that we're cured. Yeah, we've taken the pill, the pain is gone, but it hasn't really addressed the issue. And what I work with women to do is to look at things like herbal remedies, which are plant-based, they're natural, and therefore the body will take and leave what it needs to in order to help you to heal. I help them to look at womb exercises that will help to get more energy and blood flow around their womb, so that when they're having a cycle, the blood is not getting clotted and congealed, which can cause pain, so that their body is functioning at a better, more efficient way, and therefore they're reducing their pain as a result, And diet, we can't underestimate diet, as being one of the key factors to fibroid growth. So it's a holistic approach. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah, and I don't think it's down to just the women to understand the situation. It's down to all of us, because you've got people out there that are going through this, but they're also having to juggle children, and everything is juggled.
I wasn't able to share it at work. As a manager, I was managing 50 people at work, and I couldn't even share that with my female boss.
Why couldn't you?
To say, look, I'm struggling here. I'm struggling to cope. I can't even think straight. I'm anemic. I can't drive. It was more employers have to have a sensitivity to understand their female staff, in a sense that how these issues and around our reproductive health can impact on our work experience, and to be a listening ear to maybe assist women to work from home during those times. Think creatively and outside of the box.
Yeah, good idea. But now you empower women to speak up about it and ask their employees to find a reasonable adjustment. That's what we call that.
Yeah, but to be honest, Kerry, many women still don't, because they still feel fearful that they're going to lose their jobs. They still in this environment in this day and age.
Okay, then it would be to cater for a disability, because in a sense this is classed as a disability, is it or not?
Well, that's the thing. No, it isn't.
Let's find out. Well, I would find out if I'm found. Let's find out. Because I'm all for where you've taken time off and you're in that pain and you're medicated, and this happens as a regular occurrence. I'm going to find out, because this is a very easy thing for me to do. What's it called? Fibroids, isn't it?
Fibroids. Well, that would be really interesting, because maybe there's a campaign coming on, if not. Because I do campaign internationally against these, raising awareness about these issues.
Yeah, good. Okay. Let's see if it's tested. Disability with uterine fibroids may be covered under the Disability in the Equality Act 2010 if their symptoms have been substantial adverse effects on day-to-day activities for longer than 12 months. Now, it has to be tested. Is that what I'm saying? Whether or not, sorry, Boris and all those people for giving the awareness about rights, in that you are entitled to disability if it's affecting you.
Well, that's very powerful, because I myself didn't know that. And if it's been going on for longer than 12 months, which in many cases it is, then that's something that a lot more women need to be aware of. Yeah.
So if you want to look at the search engine, and it will tell you generally some of your disabilities. And this is okay. A lady didn't know the other day, and this is why I love my awareness. This is why I like doing what I'm doing. She didn't even realise that. Okay, she was had sight problems. She has migraines. There's the word for the migraine, and right now I can't think what that migraine is called. Paraplegic migraines. I think that's what it's called. And she has problems with her vision. She's also got an implant in here. It's then also to the point where she, oh my gosh, I really want to tell you about that, but I don't want to get sidetracked. I want to bring her back in here. But she basically, her life is like having to rebuild her life again when this happens sometimes, because it comes like a stroke in a sense, and then so it can affect the communication and speech and everything else. So let me have a look in this, whether your disability, which you class as a disability, falls under the statutory duty of care. So therefore hers did. So simple call to the PIP. How does they want to know how your disability affects you from day to day, and they generally take it on your worst day. So when we're looking at long term, that's the things that we need to explain. And there's a lot of people don't know their rights around disabilities, what their entitlement is, or anything like that. So that's certainly, what helped, because you think about it, we're buying sanitary towels, overload. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, some women are actually using the tenor pads now, the ones around incontinence and so on, because their flow is so heavy. I mean, but having said that, working with women over a few months and seeing those changes and those improvements because of the holistic strategies that they're putting in place with me has been incredible. Where no longer those pains, no longer the heavy bleeding, no longer having to feel pressured about having invasive operation, just having someone to listen to those concerns and signposting you and helping you to change your lifestyle. I mean, these are the life-changing things that, KMT Rising does, with women.
So you know what we tell them women now, don't you? Go get your dip. So no, and I don't want people to look at it as if oh my God, it's because a lot of people, when they're on the disability allowance, they actually feel guilty for having it. And to be honest, it's not. It's so you can put yourself on therapy. It's so you can get yourself a carer. So you can, if you get a carer, you are an employer then, but they won't tell you that either. Okay, social services don't really tell you that, or social care don't really tell you that you are the employer. They will basically get in someone, take a rate for themselves when you could have done that yourself. So
I'm all about empowerment at the end of the day, really, and it's about people taking hold of their life, and if they do need time to do that, so that they have time to go for some treatments and therapies like massage, and things like that. Acupressure, acupuncture. I mean, I'm a qualified acupressurist now, and it's been phenomenal. Treating women with fibroids, reducing period pain. So, those are.
Sorry. So I've never had acupuncture. Is that where they stick needles in you?
Well, not like that, Kerry.
I don't know.
Yeah, there are these very, very fine needles that are placed in meridian points, which little threads of energy vessels that go all the way around your body. But those points are directly linked to your organs, like your liver, your kidney, your spleen. And so by popping those little, I mean, some people find it a little bit uncomfortable, but no, some people don't even feel it at all, because the needles just go on the top layer of the skin, not into the whole skin. You don't bleed or anything like that.
Thinking about it.
No. I mean, that's why some people choose acupressure, because acupressure deals with the same points, but it's massage.
So if you can't, during lockdown now, love, how, if that's you're saying, nursing, now I've got an issue. Me, I'm always for a better solution, all right? If you're saying that if you can give acupuncture and you can give this therapy, massage stuff, but we're on lockdown, and that's acute. That's a pain management. And if we're on lockdown, how do you help these people then with that pain management?
I mean,
you're not
some
able
of my work
to
is
stick the needles
self-care,
in them.
so yeah, well, it'd be really hard. I mean, some of those, because they're qualified doctors, they still have their practices open. Obviously, you have to use gloves and mask or whatever else. However, for me personally, because I work from home, that has impact on the business. But what I tend to do is group sessions where I teach people to do their own acupressure on their hands and their feet, and so they can actually apply some of those techniques on their own at home.
That's a good idea.
Because once they know the
points, workshop for that,
yeah. So it's self-care, really. As well as teaching people how to meditate. Meditate and mindfulness has been one of the ways in which people can de-stress. I'm not into stress management, Kerry, to be honest. I'm into stress eradication. I don't want to manage my stress. I want to get rid of it. And so that's what I teach people to do, is to get rid of the stress response. If they know how to breathe right in a situation of challenge, if they know the techniques, then they don't have to have that fight and flight kind of thing that kicks off every minute of the day, and as a result of that, they can make different decisions. They can make different choices. So
it's really nice. I want women out there. I want you to take advantage of Imani and reach out to,
check out the website.
You don't get change if you don't apply action.
No.
So somebody's offering you a solution. Here it is on a plate.
Yeah, if anyone's got fibroids or they're concerned that they may have, I offer a free half an hour assessment session with each client online, and so they can go to the website www.kmtrisingltd.com and they can just book on for a 30-minute free consultation.
And you've got nothing to do, so it's 30 minutes. Hold on a minute. Hey, a 30 minutes chat. Okay, hey, I got a problem. And you're going to be the one to help with that. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, if you do not pick up the phone, if you do not reach out, then you are prolonging that pain.
Yeah.
You are keeping yourself where you desire to be, because if you don't apply action to change or manage, then it's on you. The honest is on you.
Take action.
Quit complaining. If it's going to help you with your work,
there's help out there.
Children, manage your job, take an alternative. Let's say, try an alternative solution, because you just don't know how much it's going to benefit you. It isn't something to take lightly. It's horrible that I'm actually talking to you, but even talking to you, the memory of pain is still there for me, and because it was that immense, and I could feel the wave even if I'm talking to you, and so I'm glad I don't go through that no more. I am I think hitting just the menopause, pack it up. There we go. I'm not sure if you hit that yet, but at the end of does the menopause?
I keep waiting, but I haven't seemed to yet. I am 54. To be honest, I think fibroids start to shrink in the menopausal stage because the estrogen levels are reduced. However, what we're finding is that with a lot of Black women, that's not always the case. So there's still estrogen excess issues that we have to look at, even though menopause is meant to be, shrinking our fibroids down. So we do need to look at that. And also I've noticed an increase in, because of the hair relaxers that we use, there's toxic chemicals in those things that are seeping into the bloodstream through our pores of our head that we do need to look at, because those things mimic the estrogen, when they enter the body.
Everybody would think about that, but if you want to know so much more, you're going to reach out to Imani. Give us that link one more time, Imani.
That's www.kmtrisingltd.com.
Right, you heard that. Okay.
Thank you, Kerry.
I'm not finished yet. I've got another question for you. Sorry, you bought the interview, and I think, you know what? If somebody doesn't prompt you on the questions, is limited awareness, so we want more awareness. So one more question for you, and this is a really serious question, because these vaccinations that people are having for, what do you call that thing? The big thing that's going on right now, the thing that I'm trying to forget, COVID. The COVID vaccinations that they are giving are going to alter the body. That is my belief. Okay, I believe for some reason, this is the things that I have, that it's replacing. And when I use the word mutation, that means there's a change in our body and a shift. Do you think, and we will find this out, if that people that are having that vaccine, because you hear people keep saying it's going to change things, but people that have that vaccine, would that actually play a big part on our disabilities later, on our immune systems and things like that, and perhaps around this cycle, a monthly cycle? And this is something I think we're all going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, as a practitioner, I can't obviously share my own personal views on that. All I would say,
I'm going to get that backstage.
I wouldn't be able to share that, unfortunately. However, any health product that really is not a natural product will have an impact on the body, long term, really. But as to how much of an impact, when you weigh up life over potential death, in a COVID situation, we have yet to know. We have
your own mind. It's just something that I think that we would to keep an eye. Well, for me,
people have to do their own research. They have to be a lot more informed, and they have to weigh that up for themselves. Really, it's not something that anyone can force you to do or mandate you to do. It's an informed choice, but my thing and my work is around health prevention of illness. It's about prevention of illness, boosting your immunity so that the body does what it can do best, which is heal itself. The body has a way of healing itself if we allow it to do it.
Yeah. So, Imani, you've given the website. How often do you run your workshops?
Well, I run a women's womb wellness session once a month online. I run one-to-one coaching at any time people want to book me on. And I run mindfulness 5-week courses kind of every 3 months. And they're really at a reduced rate at the moment because of COVID. I'm mindful that people's, finances are not great. And also I've been asked to deliver some kind of stress management programs and things like that. So yeah, there's always something for if anyone at the right time calls, there's always something that I could offer them.
Good. Well, I look forward to you coming back again.
Thank you.
And again, if any of your the people that you've helped would like to come back with you and share the story of how you've helped and how it's benefited them, I'd love to be great. Them as well. So the platform is there to raise awareness. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
No, I mean, I will be speaking on a health summit, an international health summit this Friday and Saturday. I don't know if you know that Shirley Powell has got a massive mind, body and soul reset event Saturday and Sunday. So Friday and Saturday, sorry. So I'll be speaking about breath therapy, actually, and the importance of correct breathing, doing some practicals as well. So,
and then when I do my workshops, excuse me, then, I'd like to bring you into them as well.
Sure, let me know. Happy to come and assist.
Yeah. I want to say thank you so much for bringing awareness around fibroids.
Thank you.
Today. Last time, we're going to leave this out just so the viewers, we know that if you didn't have a pen and paper, go and get one quickly, or you'll use your phone because you've got your phone. Go into your WhatsApp just to leave a memory, or your Messenger just to leave a memory. Then when I put this down, you should have it. So one more time of your website, please, my love.
www.kmtrisingltd.com.
You heard Imani, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kerry. Take care, everyone.
Okay, hold on. I am Kerry Mussington, and thank you for bringing awareness to the community.